If that bird had contradicted me just once, I'd believe him, maybe. But he was just too damned agreeable. This is going to be a channeled tarot card reading, synchronized to find you at exactly the right time. Now, our reading prompt from today comes from the Lost Stories of Dashiell Hammett. Dashiell Hammett was a detective writer. He wrote about crime, punishment, and investigation. So one of the principal things they talk about, at least in the detective TV shows that I watch, is the idea that, when a crime is committed and you're investigating it, the thing you should ask yourself is, who benefits? So ask yourself, who benefits from only agreeing with everything you say? Just something to think about. Let's get started with the reading proper. Now, your snapshot card, the you are in the present, is the Two of Wands. Now, this is the making plans card. Imagine this guy, he's like the world explorer, and his benefactors have funded his expedition around the world to go to new lands, to find new things. This feels like your funding has come in, and you're plotting your course now. That's your snapshot. What's the biggest influence on you right now? And the biggest influence is the Eight of Cups. Now, the Eight of Cups is the card of walking away from a thing. These cups represent emotion. They're emotional triggers for this guy. And he's turning his back on them and walking away. Now, like if you pair these two cards together, this guy is planning. His willpower is kicking in. He's planning. He's going somewhere. And wherever he's going, it's away from his emotional baggage. So right now, you're in a state of getting ready to leave a place or a situation or a relationship or a mindset, that doesn't serve you anymore. And again, I'm not saying you should do any of these things. I'm not saying you should break up your girlfriend and quit your job. I'm saying ask yourself, are you already in a state of moving away from your triggers? This can serve as a little bit of a confirmation that, you're already on the right path. Your mind is the Ten of Swords. Swords represent mind in the tarot. And you can see this guy at the bottom has had it. He's had a day. His mind has taken the biggest chunk out of him, All these holes through him were caused by his own mind. And again, this is important to realize, this is the Ten of Swords. Tens represent completion. This is the end of a cycle. This is done. This is a guy at the end of the battle, and yeah, he's got every sword on the battlefield stuck in him. But you know what? The battle's done. This guy is still alive. This isn't the death card. Now, what's going on in your unconscious mind? Your unconscious mind is the Five of Swords. Again, we got more swords in the mind position. Ten of Swords is the guy who's been through the ringer. This is the guy who's won. You see that sort of snotty smile on his face? This is the guy that did not win well. What do you call it? This guy's a sore winner. This could be seen as kind of like a warning card. It's coming from your unconscious. Maybe you've made a decision to walk away from something, and you had all you can take. You're leaving, you're plotting your next course, and you're feeling good about it. You're feeling proud. And what this card might mean is, you've heard the phrase, don't burn your bridges. Walk away if that's what you need to do, and be glad to do it. Be proud of yourself for having done it. But there's no reason to rub salt in the wounds of the people you're leaving behind. If you're going, get gone. Let the other people, situations deal with themselves. Now, your past card is the Four of Pentacles. Now, you see this guy, he is clinging to what he has. And honestly, he doesn't have much. It's only the Four of Pentacles. The 9, the 10, those guys have something to show. Look at the Two of Pentacles. It's a guy with two coins. It's like he's got two nickels that he's rubbing together to make something more. This is the Four. This is the guy that did that. He's got 4 nickels now. And he's not rubbing them together anymore. He's holding on to them. You're hoarding as if you have something to hoard, but you really don't. Now, the fact that this is in the past, this could be the shift into this mindset is what got you where you are, or the shift out of this mindset. Tarot can be like that. Now, your future card is the Ace of Swords. This is the completion of a cycle. The Ace is the starting of the next cycle. This is the brand new sword. This is Excalibur, the Lady of the Lake, holding the sword up. This battle is over. You're beaten up, but you won, and your reward is a new start. Take this new weapon and go out, go use it. Swords are meant to be used. It's not supposed to be, this journey may not be that easy. You're gonna dent it up. You're supposed to get it dirty to find out how. You have to put a sword through a test to find out how good the sword is. You have to put whatever idea it is you're thinking, whatever, course you're plotting, you have to put it to use. If you want to find out if something's a good idea, don't just listen to people tell you it is or it isn't. Go execute the idea, and then you'll find out for real whether or not it's a good idea. The thing you don't want to do is then take that and go find everybody who let you down or ticked you off or kicked your butt in the last 40 years to go resettle those fights that you lost a long time ago. Just walk away. Let those losses be losses, and just walk away, because you're going to the new place. Now, what's in your heart this whole time? Now, this is the heart card. This is where your heart's at. This is the reaction your heart is having to this plan you're making. Your heart is excited. Your heart feels like, like we've been telling you this over and over again. We've been sending you emails that this thing you were doing was a bad idea, and you've decided to walk away. You've changed your mind. You've left, and your heart is gladdened by the fact that you finally caught up. Now, what does the world look like for you? And what did I say earlier? The 10 of Pentacles is the completion. This is the land of plenty, the land of achievement. This is complete and total mastery of the physical world. You see this old guy, he's surrounded by his kids, his grandkids, his dogs, this beautiful estate, all this growth everywhere. But the world around you is full of opportunities. But you have found yourself, you've walked through this threshold, and what's inside this castle? This is what our traveler has found. Now, what's your hope and fear through all that? And your hope and fear was the Page of Cups. Now, when we talk about the cups, is the emotional, it's what's going on in your heart space. And the pages are the people that take the things from the gods. But it's worth noting, there's something in this cup he wasn't expecting. There's this weird fish, There's something floating in those new emotional waters that he wasn't expecting. And maybe that is sort of your hope and fear. Your hope is you're ready to start something new, You're willing to walk away from all these unfulfilling emotions. You're hoping to get a new emotion from the god, but you're afraid that there's going to be something hidden in that new emotional well that you weren't expecting. Again, tying that back to our initial reading, people telling you what you want to hear. I'm sure there's lots of fairy tales out there about fishermen who find magic fish who say, whoa, don't kill me and eat me, and I'll grant you wishes. Now, it's worth noting that whether or not the fish can do that, the fish is talking. The fish has something to gain by talking to you. For all we know, this fish is talking, telling this guy exactly what he wants to hear, because the longer he talks and keeps this guy's attention, the longer this fish gets to stay in the cup. Otherwise, this guy may pour him back into the ocean where the sharks are. He may throw him on the grill and have him for dinner. The longer this fish talks, the longer he survives and the safer he is. What things are around you that are just telling you what you want to hear, because otherwise you would just flush them back into the sea with everything else. But the final card of this reading is the Five of Pentacles. It's the lack mindset. It's the card that comes after the Four. You see this guy hoarding? He doesn't have a whole lot to hoard. He didn't have a whole lot to start with. Worth noting, though, that this is not the lack card. This is the lack mindset. The guy's afraid of this and it's creating this. He's afraid of this. He's afraid of this card, which is making him stingy, which is giving him a complex. But it's worth noting, whatever decision you have made, your heart is glad you made it. And the world around you is lush with opportunities and coins. The last card is the lack mindset. But again, these two cards could go together. You know, like what's on the other side of this wall? It could be this wall. And what you're seeing here is these guys walking and they're about to turn the corner and find that they're actually in a land of plenty. That could be where you're at right now. There's basically, don't be afraid to use the resources around you because you're in a land of resources. You're in a land of plenty. This card is a mindset that comes from an action. And if you don't experience, if you don't feel, then, you know, you will feel a lack, you know. And this guy has it all. And he's not hoarding. He's not hoarding. It's all these things. They're not being restrained by him. They're floating around and they're manifesting. The pentacles here are restrained. They belong you believe they belong to somebody else, but they don't. These belong to you. And once you free them from this frame, once they bust out everywhere, there's going to be so much more. You may have a mindset of restrictiveness, and something, your fears, those cups you're walking away from, are agreeing with you that you're right to be restrictive. It's a scary place out there, man. You know, but it may be lying to you. It may be, you know, the fish in the cup. That fear, personify that fear for a second. It has a job. It wants to do its job. It wants to survive. And the way it survives is by convincing you that what it's saying is something worth listening to. You know, so your fear is always going to tell you that it's right so that you keep it around and you keep listening to it, you know. And you have to be, which is luckily the thing you seem to be, you know, you're in a state of walking away, of plotting a course and walking away from these cups that are full of fish that are just trying to keep you from pouring them back into the ocean. But again, it's all about your mindset. You know, if you choose to go and do, then, you know, and test that sword you're being given by the gods, then, you know, that's the only way to abundance. You know, everything else is just hoarding. It's just the four of pentacles. It's just keeping everything tightly wound and so that it can't flow out and then flow back in. But thank you so much for listening, guys. That's going to be it for today. I love you. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye.